Good morning, one and all present here. This is Amit Kumar Singh, and welcome to my session on simple interest and compound interest. When we talk about the concept of interest, it is very important topic in commercial arithmetic. So basically, we know that we are living in the present economic world, and in that, money is the very important factor, and it plays very dominant role in our decision making ability. So when we talk about money, we need to understand in the context of money that money basically follow two concepts. One is called time value of money, and another concept is more risk, more return. So when we talk about time value of money, according to the time value of money, it says that because we are living in the world of inflation, so as the time progresses, the value of money decreases. So that is the concept, and based upon that, we can understand that each and everything what we see around us, the price of each and every commodity is increasing with time, and because of which the our purchasing power ability is decreasing, and then we need to work more hard to get what we are expecting from ourselves. So the very important concept which need to discuss here is the concept of interest, is the concept of compounding. So let's start understanding one by one each term. So here the term what you need to understand here, that then there is something called amount. So amount is the value what you get on your investment. So the money which you do not spend, if you keep it idle with you, and that money if you go and invest in some financial institution, then that money what all you are investing, that is called as principal. And wherever you will invest your money, you will get some value on that money, and the value what you will get is called as interest. So the formula what we follow here, is amount is equal to principal plus interest. So the principal is the money what you are depositing for investment purpose, and the money what you get back from the investment is the amount, and the difference between what you are putting and what you are getting is the interest. So when we talk about interest, when we are trying to understand the concept of interest, when we are trying to understand the concept of interest, in order to understand the concept of interest, we basically understand interest by two mechanism. One is called simple interest methodology. We'll understand interest by two mechanism. One is called simple interest methodology, and the another one is called compound interest methodology. So when we are trying to understand the concept of interest, so we understand interest by two mechanisms. One is called simple interest methodology, and another one is called compound interest methodology. So basically, when we talk about a simple interest methodology, in the case of simple interest methodology, we believe that the value of money does not change. So simple interest methodology is a arbitrary concept which does not works in the real market. So when we talk about simple interest methodology, in case of simple interest methodology, we believe that our principal, whatever you are investing, that remain constant. So because your principal remain constant, so the interest what you will get on your investment is also remain constant. So this is basically simple interest methodology. So while when we talk about compound interest methodology, in compound interest methodology, we believe on the time value of money. So where the amount of every n year become the principal for next year. So this is compound interest methodology. So in the case of compound interest methodology, you will get interest on interest. So in the case of compound interest methodology, you will get interest on interest. While here the interest is constant only. But here you get interest on interest. It follow time value of money. So when you talk about compound interest methodology, it follow time value of money. It follow time value of money. So time value of money, you know the concept of time value of money. So normally we represent time value of money formula with this formula, that is future value is equal to present value into 1 plus r by 100 to the power t. So that means the value of money never remain constant. It increases or decreases with time. So with this, you can determine the future value of money, or if you want the present value of money, that is determined by the formula called present value is equal to future value divided by 1 plus r to the power t. A very basic formula. Actually, this formula is derived from the concept of compound interest, which I'll tell you within couple of minutes. I'll start discussing the formulas and all. So the very important thing we need to understand here that whenever we talk about investment, whenever we have money with us, and so keeping money idle with us does not give any sense, because you heard of demonetization, and you heard of basically to achieve your financial dream, you need to work hard, and more we work hard in future, and you know that as the time progresses, the value of money is decreasing at very faster rate. So always it is important that whenever you are working hard and whenever you are chasing your financial dream, you need to make sure that the return what you get should be more than the cost of inflation. So that point you can keep in your mind. So normally, so whatever the interest you get from on any investment, so any investment, like if you put your money in FD, bank FD, and suppose bank FD gave you 8% per annum, so whatever the interest rate you get from any investment source, that is called nominal rate of return, that is called nominal interest rate, that is called nominal rate of return, that is called nominal rate of return. So you need to make sure that whatever the return you're getting from your investment, that return should be more than your inflation. So if once you understood that whatever the return you are getting from any investment, so that is called nominal rate of return, this you can subtract with your inflation rate. Suppose the rate of inflation is 5%. Suppose the rate of inflation is 5%. So now if you subtract it from inflation, so the return now what you're getting, this is called real rate of return. This is called real rate of return. So whenever we make investment, whenever we talk about investment, we need to make sure that the return what we are getting, it should beat the inflation rate. So whatever exam you people are preparing, you need to know basics of economics. So you cannot put yourself away from macroeconomics. So in on the context of macroeconomics, you should have an idea about what is inflation, how we calculate inflation, what is consumer price index, what is wholesale price index, so how it is calculated in India. All that, please spend some time understanding that part. So I hope you are trying to understand the picture that whatever we earn, and whenever we have a financial dream, so whatever we earn, we need to save some part of money. And whenever we do investment, wherever we put our money for investment purpose, so the money what we put for investment is called as principal. On that money, the value what you get is called as interest, and the sum total of the final value what you're getting is called as amount. Okay, now whenever you do this calculation of interest, because interest is the value what you're getting on your investment. So whenever you talk about the calculation of interest, interest is basically calculated by two ways. Either you follow simple interest methodology, or you follow compound interest methodology. So you need to understand this, the concept. Like suppose your principal is 100 rupees. Suppose your principal is 100 rupees and your rate of interest is 10% per annum. 10% per annum. Per annum means per year. So normally in books and everywhere you see per annum, it is written. Per annum means per year. So you see 10% per annum. So now when you see the rate of interest is 10% per annum. So if I calculate my interest after 1 year, so my interest after 1 year is 10% of this 100. So that would be 10 rupees. Okay. So now my amount after 1 year would be 110 rupees. So when you talk about simple interest, in the case of simple interest, you always get 10 rupees as your interest, and always, like after 1 year, your amount become 110. After 2 year, it become 120. After 3 year, it become 130. Then after 4 year, it become 140. So on 100 rupees, every time you're calculating 10%. So that is how it works in simple interest. But when we talk about compound interest, this amount of 110 rupees will become the principal for next year. So for the next year, the principal become 110 rupees. So on this, if the rate of interest is 10% per annum, so on this, if you calculate your interest, so for the next year, your interest become 11 rupees. So your amount after second year will become 110 plus 11. Your amount after second year become 121 rupees. This 121 rupees will become the principal for third year. So the principal for third year become 121 rupees. So on this, if you calculate your interest for the third year, so 10% of that you will get 12.1 rupees. So your amount for the third year would be 121 plus 12.1, that would be 133.1. So I hope you are understanding. So what is happening in the case of compound interest? So in the case of compound interest, you get interest on interest. So this amount will become the principal for the next year. So in the case of compound interest, you get interest on interest. So this ideology is very important to understand, to get a more deep meaning about the difference between simple interest and compound interest. So imagine, so this is the time period. So this is 0 to 1 year. This is 0 to 1 year, and this is 1 to 2 year. This is 2 to 3 year. So like this, I'm just trying to give you a picture. This is 3 to 4 year. So this is 0 to 1 year. Then this is 1 to 2 year. Then this is 2 to 3 year. And this is 3 to 4 year. So suppose your principal is 100 rupees and your rate of interest is 10%. So you need to understand, in the case of simple interest, every time you get 10 rupees. Every time you get 10 rupees in the case of simple interest. So if the principal remain constant, so you get the same interest. So it does not follow time value of money. So this 10 will remain 10, this 10 will remain 10, this 10 will remain 10, this it would remain 10, it would remain 10, it would remain 10. So if you calculate your interest through simple interest, if you calculate your interest, so if this is your interest, if you calculate your interest through simple interest, so this would be 10 rupees, this would be 20 rupees, this would be 30 rupees, and this would be 40 rupees. Very simple calculation. Now if I talk in the term of compound interest, if I talk in the term of compound interest, if I talk in the term of compound interest, so you need to understand the difference between simple interest and compound interest will remain same after 1 year, because there's no effect of compounding. So the difference between simple interest and compound interest will remain same. So the difference becomes zero. Compound interest and simple interest after 1 year will remain same only. So if I calculate the difference, so the difference would be zero only. Now, if you calculate the difference between simple interest and compound interest after 2 years, so you need to understand this, that this 10 will not become 10 here. On this 10, you'll get an interest of 10%. So this will become 11 rupees. So after 2 years, your compound interest will become 21 rupees. So in this case, and this is 1 rupee. Similarly, this 10 will not be 10 here. So on this 10, this 11, you get a interest of 10%. So if you calculate, you'll get 12.1. This 10 will become here 11. You get a interest of 10%. This 10 will become 11. So this will become 33.1 rupees. Similarly, here they will not remain the value. So this 12.1, you get interest of 10%. So 10% of 12.1 is 1.21. So 1.21 1.21 is 13.31. This would become 12.1. This will become 11. So if you calculate, you will get 46.41. So now this would be this. So here I hope you're understanding the difference. The difference what you're getting. So mathematically, for exam point of view, if you want to calculate the difference, so difference between compound interest and simple interest, if you want to calculate compound interest and simple interest, so a difference between simple interest and compound interest, if you want to know, so for exam point of view, you should know after 2 year formula. So the after 2 year, after 1 year to that will be 0. After 2 year, the difference is PR square by 10,000. You can memorize this. The difference between compound interest and simple interest after 2 years. This you can write as PR square by 10 to the power 4. And the difference between compound interest and simple interest after 3 years, you can use a formula called PR square into 300 plus R divided by 10 lakh. So you can write this as PR square into 300 PR square into 300 plus R divided by 10 to the power 6. So remember this formula. Remember, very important for exam point of view. So the difference between compound interest and simple interest after 2 years and after 3 years, very important. So I hope you'll understand this. So 4 year and all not important, because for 4 year I should know the formula for 4 year and all. I need to use this formula a plus b to the power 4 for the 4 year, and many students normally they don't do, they don't remember. So this and all become little bit complicated to do. So this and all become little bit complicated to work on. Normally in exam and all, they will not ask you if this 4 year difference and all. In case if you are preparing for CA foundation exam and all, so in such exams they may ask you, but if they're asking you, then you can manually you can calculate. So no need of running behind or deriving the formula for 4 year or unnecessary. You will waste your time if you think of deriving the formula. So you can keep this in your mind. So this is a basic understanding about the simple interest and compound interest. I hope by this time you are clear with the concept on simple interest and compound interest, how we can work on simple interest, how we can work on compound interest. So it doesn't matter I'm talking about simple interest or I'm talking about compound interest. In both the case, the formula what I need to remember is that the amount is equal to principal plus interest. So that is the formula what I need to remember always while working on either simple interest or either compound interest. I need to use this formula. Fine. So anyone have any doubt? Please write in the chat box. If anyone want to ask anything, anyone have any confusion, please write in the chat box. I hope this much is clear. Fine, everyone. Nitin, you understood? Avinash, you understood? Any doubt you have? Avinash, you want to ask any question? So I hope you are understanding the logic, right? So basically the formula what we're using here is that amount is equal to principal plus interest. Where when we talk about calculation of interest, so it is either calculated through simple interest methodology or it is either calculated through compound interest methodology. So that is the framework what we need to remember in our mind whenever we are trying to solve the question based on this. Now talking purely based on formula, I can talk purely based on formula that if I'm talking about simple interest methodology, if I'm talking about simple interest methodology, so the formula of interest which you can remember is P into R into T by 100. So this is the formula of interest, what you can remember, or you can write this as P into R percent into T. So this formula you can remember. Simple interest methodology, you can remember this formula. that interest is equal to P into R into T. Okay, then or P into R percent into T. Then you can remember the formula of amount. Amount, you know that amount is equal to principal plus interest. You know the formula, amount is equal to principal plus interest. If I take principal common, so this will become P into 1 plus RT by 100. This is the formula of amount. So if you talk about amount formula, so the amount formula is P into 1 plus RT by 100. So this you can remember this, so it will be helpful for you. Certain time in exam you get a direct question based on using this mechanism. So you can see this question number one. So if I talk about this question number one, you see in approximately how many year will the certain sum of money triple itself at 22%. So sum of money triple itself. So sum of money triple itself means what is, so let my money, so let my money is 100 rupees. Okay, so my principal become 100 rupees, it become triple. So it become triple means my amount would be 300 rupees. My money will get triple, means my amount would be 300 rupees. So you know the formula, that amount is equal to principal plus interest. So the interest what I earned is 200 rupees. My money get triple, so means 100 rupees become 300 rupees. So I got an interest of 200 rupees. Okay, so now very simple, you just need to use the formula that interest is equal to P into R into T by 100. Your interest is equal to 200, your principal is 100, R is 22 by 100, and time, they're asking you what time. So this get cancelled. So if they're asking you the time, so the time is nothing but that is 200 by 22. That is nothing but 100 by 11. 100 by 11 means 9.09. Fine. So they're asking approximately, so the answer would be 9.09. Clear? Everyone understood this? So directly you can use it to get the answer and all. You can remember this. This is the formula of simple interest and all. So try to work more on this interest calculation. Whenever you get a problem in simple interest, it doesn't matter the problem is about amount or it is about interest. Try to convert that amount problem also into interest, so that your calculation will become easy. Okay, the same question I would have done by using amount and all, but if I use using amount, then it become complicated. So amount is equal to principal 1 plus RT by 100. I could have done this also. So 300 is equal to 100, 1 plus R. R is how much? 22 T by 100. I could have done like this also. So this become 3. 3 is equal to 1 plus 22 T by 100. Okay. So now, so you can say 2 is equal to 22 T by 100. So T is equal to 100 by 11. That is 9.09. So it doesn't matter how will you do, whatever way you will follow to do, you're gonna get the same answer. Clear, right? Fine. So remember this formula and all. It will be helpful for you whenever you do calculation. Now going further, if I talk about compound interest, if I talk about compound interest methodology to solve the problem on compound interest methodology, if I follow compound interest methodology to solve the problem, so here the formula what you need to use is amount is equal to principal 1 plus R by 100 to the power T, or you can use the formula called amount is equal to principal 1 plus R percent to the power T. So you can use this formula. The amount is equal to principal 1 plus R by 100 to the power T, or amount is equal to principal 1 plus R percent to the power T. So you can use this formula to get the answer and all. So it depends upon how you see the question and how you can do the problem. So solving problem and all will not be difficult thing for you whenever you are trying to solve the question on compound interest. So you can use this formula. So this is the formula of amount. While when I talk about interest, so interest in compound interest, so that is nothing but that is amount minus principal. So the interest in compound interest, you can use this formula P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power T minus P. The interest under compound interest, you can take P common, that become 1 plus R by 100 to the power T minus 1. So this is the formula of interest under compound interest. So you can use this formula and you'll get the answer easily. So this chapter, this calculation and all in compound interest and all, these all are formula oriented, and with the help of formula you can solve very easily the questions on compound interest and all. So please write it down, this formula, and ask me if you have any doubt in understanding. Fine. So I hope you understood. Normally, when we work on the concept of compound interest and all, if remember the rule of 72. Remember the rule of 72. So the rule of 72 applies whenever we talk about doubling of money. Whenever we talk about doubling of money concept. So whenever I talk about doubling of money concept, so in that, and this works on compound interest, not on simple interest. So in compound interest mechanism, whenever I talk about a doubling of money concept, then you can remember that the product of R into T is equal to 72. So you can remember this. So whenever in the question they are talking about doubling of money, you can use this concept, the rule of 72, which says that the product of R into T is equal to 72. You can see this question number 2. You can see this question number 2. So, uh, so this no, question number 2 is not. Question number 2 will do later on. Some question I wanted to show you. Okay, yeah. Question number 2, sorry. So question number 2. So at certain rate of compound interest, 15320 become 302640. So you understand here. So your amount is equal to 30640 and your principal is rupees 15320 and your time is 6 years. So you can just apply the formula amount is equal to principal 1 plus R by 100 to the power T. So your amount is 30640 is equal to 15320 into 1 plus R by 100 to the power T. Your T is 6 here. Now if you notice this 30640 is double of 15320. So you can say that 2 is equal to 1 plus R by 100 to the power 6. So I can, so here 2 is equal to 1 plus R by 100 to the power 6. This equation, you need to solve this equation. So you need to solve this equation that 2 is equal to 1 plus R by 100. Now you need to solve this equation that 2 is equal to 1 plus R by 100 to the power 6. Now what is the value of R? So the value of R would be 2 to the power 1 by 6 minus 1 into 100. So now in the exam where scientific calculator and all is not given, how I can find this value, or either I need log table to do this. So you need to understand this is a question of doubling of money. So whenever doubling of money question concept is there, you know R into T is 72. So R is R we don't know, T is 6. That is equal to 72. So the R would be approximately 12%. Your R would be approximately 12%. If you want to prove this, I can prove it also by using Excel or something. Fine. So what I needed this 2 to the power 1 by 6, 2 to the power 1 by 6, 2 to the power 1 by 6 minus 1 into 100 into 100. So you can see this. If I multiply this with 100, I hope you can understand this. So your rate of interest is coming around 12.2462. So that approximately value I told you. So you can understand. So doubling of money, you can remember this. So for concept, it is very important for exam point of view. So in exam and all, you some question can look difficult for you, but that can be easily solved by using this doubling of money concept. You can see this question number 19. So this question number 19, you can see. So 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 see this question. Let me put it on the other side only. So now you can see this. So Ram deposited P rupees. Ram deposited P rupees. So the Ram has deposited P rupees with the bank at R% compound interest, and it's seen to reach 16p in 20 years. So Ram has deposited P rupees in a bank at R% compound interest, and it becomes 16p. R becomes 16p. Sorry, what I'm saying. P becomes 16p in 20 years. So Ram has deposited P rupees in bank, and that P has become 16p in 20 years. I can write the equation that amount is 16p. So that is 1 plus R by 100 to the power 20. I can write 16 is equal to 1 plus R by 100 to the power 20. So now if I write in the term square, so 4 square is 1 plus R by 100 to the power 10 square. So I can say 4 is equal to 1 plus R by 100 to the power 10. And I hope you understood. If I do square root both sides, again I can do square root. So again I can do square root. So if I do square root both sides, I'll get 2 is equal to 1 plus R by 100 to the power 5. Now if you notice now I reached that again the concept of doubling of money. So whenever the doubling of money happens, you know that product of R into T is 72. So R into T is 72 whenever there's doubling of money. So it means so time, if that is 5 years, so 5 into R is 72. So what is the value of your R? Your R is 72 by 5. And you can easily understand this concept. Now next thing is that now the question says that if he has invested the same amount at R% simple interest for 20 years, then what would be the amount? So if the same money he would have invested for simple interest, that same money if would have invested for simple interest, so how much the money would have become after 20 years? This is the question where your rate is 72 by 5. So here your rate is 72 by 5. Your rate is 72 by 5. They are asking you the amount in simple interest. So P into 1 plus RT by 100. This is the amount. In the case of simple interest, you know this formula. So the amount concept. So how much the amount they are asking you? So that is 1 plus R. R is 72 by 5. R is 72 by 5. R is 72 by 5, and your time 14.4% is your R, and your time is equal to time is how much? 5. Time is 20 years. So 14.4. So you basically the value of R is 14.4%. So 14.4 no 72, yeah, 14.4%. So you could have written 14.4%. Okay, so this divide by 100, so you can do this. Now this calculation, you have to find this value. This will become 5. So amount is equal to principal 1 plus 72 by 25 you will get. Okay, so what is this value? So amount is equal to principal 72, you will get 97 by 25. So this, you know that 25 fossa is 100. You know that 25 fossa is 100, and this is 97 by 25. So means definitely this value is less than 4. You know that this value is definitely less than 4. So, so if you see the options, if you see the options, now you can understand by looking at the option, you know that this value would be between 3.5 to 4p. It's less than 4p because 25 fossa is 100, but definitely it would be more than 3.5. That you can find out. What is 25 into 35? 25 into 35 is 875. So 25, so definitely it is more than, you can understand this. It is, so what is 25 into, what is 25 into 3.5? So that is 87.5. Definitely it is more than 87.5 and it is less than 100. So you know that this value is more than 87.5 and less than 100. It is between 3.5p to 4p. And how I found this value, how I told you this value. So this is Vedic maths. I believe you have seen my video on Vedic maths. Whenever you multiply two numbers, both the numbers are ending with 5 and the difference is 10, and the difference between the two numbers is 10. So whenever you do this kind of calculation, whenever you do this kind of calculation, so whenever you do this kind of calculation like this, so whenever you multiply two numbers, both the numbers are ending with 5 and the difference is 10. So it's very easy. See the bigger number, which is the bigger number, and see the 10th place digit of that bigger number. See the 10th place digit of the bigger number. Okay. Now, always understand that whenever you multiply two number, both the number ending with 5 and the difference is 10, that will end with always 75. They will always end with 75. Now, how to find the remaining digit? See the 10 place digit of bigger number, and so do the square minus 1. So 3 square minus 1, 8. 12 square minus 1, 143. Okay, so 7 square minus 1, 48, 4875. 17 square minus 1, 288. 33 square minus 1, 1088. So this is your answer. This is Vedic maths. So I have developed around 8 videos on Vedic maths where I explained all these things. So these things will helpful for you in day-to-day calculation whenever you do on maths. So if you use them, you can develop your mathematical skill in much more better way. So the answer for this question would become 3.5p to 4p. That would be answer. Clear? Anyone have any doubt? Please ask me. Everyone, please write in the chat box if anyone want to ask anything. Fine, so you can remember them. So it will be helpful for you for solving the problem and all. So, if you, so I told you before, if you remember that whenever you talk about simple interest, whenever you talk about compound interest, you know the formula of simple interest is P into R into T by 100. You know the formula of compound interest, that is P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power T minus 1. So you know this basic framework. Now, like I told you, the difference between simple interest and compound interest. I told you the formula, the difference after 2 years. So the difference after 2 years is PR square by 10,000. Similarly, I told you for 3 year also, that is PR square into 300 plus R divided by 10 to the power 6. So I just proved this to make you understand this. So the difference between compound interest and simple interest after 2 years, that would be nothing but that would be the compound interest after 2 years minus the simple interest after 2 years. So you can write the difference. This difference. Uh, so this is P into 1 plus R by 100 the power 2 minus 1 minus 2 PR by 100. So what you can do if you solve this equation, so if you solve this equation, if you take P common, so A plus B whole square, so that is A square plus B square plus AB minus 1 minus 2R by 100. If you noticed, if you notice, this and this will get cancelled, this and this get cancelled. So ultimately, you will get this formula. The difference between compound interest and simple interest is equal to P into R square by 10,000. So like the way I have derived this formula, I can simultaneously, I can derive the formula also for 3 year and all. 4 year and all is not advisable because become very complicated. Fine. So see this question number 23. See this question number 23. So based on that concept only. So if the compound interest earned on certain sum for 2 years is twice the amount of simple interest for 2 years, it means the compound interest what you're getting for 2 years is double of the simple interest what you get for 2 years. That is given to you. So imagine, let the simple interest for 2 years is X. So the compound interest for 2 years would be 2X. Okay. Now the difference between compound interest and simple interest after 2 years would be the compound interest of 2 years minus the simple interest of 2 years, and the difference formula you know, that is PR square by 10,000. This is 2X minus X. So you can say PR square is nothing but that is 10,000 X. I hope you understood this. And similarly, you know that you know that the simple interest after 2 years, that is 2 PR by 100, and that I assume as X. So I can say PR is equal to 50X. So PR is equal to 50X. 1 minute. Simple interest for 2 years. So PR is equal to 50X. So now if you divide this, so PR square by PR, that would be 10,000 divided by 50. So this would be R value is equal to 200%. Simple calculation. So I hope you understood this. So you can you could easily do this kind of question. Everyone, please see, ask me if anyone have any doubt. Anyone want to ask anything, please ask me. So it's just an application of the difference formula and all. So whenever you get the formula in exam, you can solve them very easily and you can get the answer. So you don't have to struggle to get the answer and all. So you can solve them very easily. Fine. Many times when we are solving the problem on percentages and all, so many times what happens is that we need to have a basic understanding also for percentages. So basically, when you talk about compound interest is nothing but it is an application of percentage only. So whenever you solve the question, whenever you are working on solving the question on percentage and all, it is just an application of percentage. You don't have to you don't have to struggle to get the answer for them. So like if you see this question number 24, so there's a person called Ravi. So the question can look lengthy. Question can look like, oh my God, this can be a difficult question. Oh, I need to spend time to solve this question. But maybe at the same time, the question can be solved very easily if we are good with the concept of percentage. So you can see Ravi invests 50% of his monthly saving in fixed deposit. So let the monthly saving of Ravi, let the monthly saving of Ravi is 100 rupees. So Ravi invests 50%. 50% of this money he invests in FD. So means 50 rupees he invests in FD. Okay, then 30% of rest of the saving. So then the next thing is that 30% of rest of the saving. Rest of the saving, how much left? What is a how much left? How much saving left with him? 50 rupees left with him. So what they're asking, they're saying 30% of rest of the saving. What is 30% of 50 rupees? That is 15 rupees. So you're getting right. So the 30% of rest of the saving is invested in stock. So how much money he invests in stock? That money they invest in stock is 15 rupees. Okay, and then and the rest goes to Ravi saving bank account. And rest, how much left now? 35 rupees. The rest goes to Ravi saving bank account. Saving account. Simple. Okay. So if the total deposited by him in bank for saving and FD is 59,500. So here to I assume 100. Otherwise, the total is this. The total of they are giving you this and this. The total of this and this they are giving you. If I assume 100, then the total of, if I'm assuming 100, if I'm assuming, if I'm assuming, if I'm using assuming 100, if I'm assuming 100, if I'm assuming 100, then the total of saving plus then the total of saving plus FD, then the total of saving account plus FD is 85 rupees. So you'll get 85, you'll get 85, you'll get 85, you'll get the total sum of saving and FD as 85 when you assume the money of your investment is 100 rupees. You're understanding? So when you're getting 85 because you assume this to be 100 rupees. So what they're asking, the monthly saving. So if the actual amount is 59,500, so then what was the saving? So the saving, this would be 100 divided by 85 into 59500. So you can solve this. So 85, which table you will get this? So which table you can get? 7za, is it? 7za. So 7 5s are 35, and then 3 carry 56 plus 359. Yeah. So 7za. So this is nothing but this is 700. This is 700, then 2 more zeros, 70,000. So the question, it's not like uh, whenever you see the question on simple interest, compound interest, it doesn't mean that always the question to be solved by using the formula only. So it's not formula and all. That is the faster way of getting the answer. Otherwise, step by step, you can get the same answer only. So you don't have to spend your time finding out the formulas and all, and then working on. So if we are good with the concept of percentages, then we can solve the question very easily. Fine. So we don't need to think much more on that part. So I hope you are understanding. So in this session, I just wanted to develop a kind of foundation for all of you. With that foundation, solving the question will be very easy when we try to solve question in the next class, when we are trying to solve questions on the next class. So then it become very easy for us to solve the question. Fine. So anyone have any doubt? Anyone want to ask anything? Please ask me. Anyone have any question to be asked? So we'll do numericals. The remaining numericals which are pending, we'll do in next class. It was just in a kind of basic understanding. So to be developed for all of you with regard to compound interest and all. So if you have better understanding, so we can easily solve the question. Solving question is not a big thing. The other thing you can remember in your mind is called multi-period compounding. So the multi-period compounding works whenever the rate of interest is not changing per annum. Maybe it's changing half yearly or quarterly or monthly like that. So in that you can remember that if your rate of interest is compounding half yearly, if your rate of interest is compounding half yearly, if your rate of interest is compounding half yearly, then your amount will become principal into 1 plus r percent divided by 2 to the power 2t. Okay, so if your rate of interest is compounding half yearly, then the rate will be divided by 2 and the time will be multiplied by 2. Okay, so while you similarly your compound interest will be t into 1 plus r percent divided by 2 to the power 2t minus 1. Simple calculation. Similarly, if I ask you that if the rate of interest is compounding quarterly, that the rate of interest, if the rate of interest, if the rate of, if the rate of interest is compounding quarterly, if the rate of interest is compounding quarterly, then your amount will become principal into 1 plus r percent divided by 4 to the power 4p, because you understand in a year you have 4 quarters. Similarly, when you talk about compound interest, so that this would be p into 1 plus r percent divided by 4, then to the power 4t minus 1. So you can use this to get the answer, and you can get the answer very easily. The idea what you need to realize here, that whenever you talk about rate of interest, the rate of interest is quoted always per annum. Okay, you need to understand this principle very well, that the rate of interest is quoted per annum. You need to understand that the rate of interest is always quoted per annum. So it doesn't matter that everyone give you interest annually or at the end of the year. Different financial institutions give you interest differently. Like if you put your money in Kisan Vikas Patra or National Savings Certificate, they give interest. They give interest like 8% per annum. Like they give interest 8% per annum compounded. They give interest 8% per annum compounded half yearly. So they are giving you 8% per annum compounded half yearly. So 8% per annum compounding half yearly means whenever you see the rate of interest, it is always quoted per annum. Okay, so but it is this is not giving you 8% for 1 year. It is giving you 8% for 1 year on a general basis, where they're calculating the interest uh, after every 6 months, half yearly. So you need to understand they are calculating your interest after every 6 months. So they are calculating your interest after every 6 months. So they are calculating your interest after every 6 months. And every time how much they will give you interest? 4%. Every time how much they will give you interest? They will give you 4%. So this point you need to keep in your mind. That's why if you remember when I told you, if it compounded half yearly, I divided by 2. So rate I divided by 2 and time I multiply by 2. Because why? What is time? Time here doesn't mean the year or time is the number of time you are calculating. That's why in Excel and all, if you see time and all written NPER, so it is number of time it is calculating. So people normally get confused with the value called time. So they think 1 year. So the time is 1 year, but if I'm calculating after every 6 months, so in every year I'm calculating it 2 times. That's why I'm multiplying by 2. Now you understand here. So if this is 8% per annum, And if it compounding half yearly, so for every 6 months, you are getting 4% and 4%. So, but this 4%, because this compound interest will not be 4% here. On this 4%, you get an interest of 4%. So this will become 4.16%. So at the end of the year, how much interest you'll get? You'll get 8.16%. So you need to understand 8% per annum. If it compounded half yearly, it will become 8.16%. It will become 8.16%. So you need to understand this. Okay, this is called effective interest rate. So effective interest rate, whenever the rate of interest is compounded annually, then effective interest rate is equal to the rate of interest. But if the rate of interest is not compounding annually, then effective interest rate would definitely will be more than your annualized interest rate. You need to understand this. We called as the effective interest rate. This is normally we call as the effective interest rate. So we'll continue our discussion on simple interest and compound interest from here. Uh, we'll continue our discussion. I don't want to prolong the session. For simple interest, compound interest, I can teach for 10 hours also. So the idea here is that I don't want to make my session more than 1 hour. So I'm winding up the class right now at this moment. So from this moment only, I'll start my next session, so that I get full concentration of you people in every class. Okay, so then I like to wind up this class, and so I hope you really like the class. If you like the class, please click on the like button and please subscribe to my channel. So if you already subscribed, then thank you for that. And if you are not subscribed, then please subscribe to my channel, and please watch the next video on simple interest and compound interest, to continue our story beyond this effective interest rate, compounding this and all, how this work, how this effective interest rate is applicable in the real world. This is what is applicable in real world. You need to understand this. So we'll continue discussion from here. I hope you enjoyed my session. So with that intention, I like to wind up the session. So I want to say thank you to everyone for your time, patience, and keep learning. Thank you, everyone. Bye.